There are places on this earth where the danger isn't a government, isn't a weapon, isn't even another human being. It's the land itself. 4 islands. No checkpoints, no armed guards, no barbed wire. And yet, every single government that has ever touched them has come to the same conclusion. Stay away. One was born from fire less than a lifetime ago. One still carries the legacy of one of the darkest military experiments of the 20th century. One sits in a sea so violent it takes 2 weeks just to reach it. And one was deliberately infected, on purpose, and never cleaned up the way they promised. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some places don't need fences. The Earth builds its own. Welcome back to Mind Marvel Wonder. If this is your first time here, we don't just talk about secrets. We go looking for the places nobody wants you to look at. Today, we're leaving behind the bunkers and the black budgets. Today, it's nature versus man. And in every one of these 4 cases, nature is winning. Let's begin. In November 1963, fishermen off the south coast of Iceland watched the ocean do something it had never done in their lifetimes. It caught fire. Smoke rose from the water itself. Within days, an undersea volcano had pushed a brand new island up from the sea floor. Something almost no living human had ever witnessed happen in real time. They named it Surtsey, after Surtur, the fire giant of Norse mythology, set to burn the world at the end of days. The eruption lasted 4 years. When it finally stopped, Iceland had gained new land, solid, real, permanent. And almost immediately, scientists made a decision that still holds today. No one sets foot here, not tourists, not photographers, not even most scientists. Why lock down a brand new island instead of celebrating it? Because Surtsey is the only place on Earth where researchers can watch life colonize land from absolute zero. No human footprints. No smuggled seeds in someone's shoe. No contamination. Every plant, every insect, every bird that arrives on its own. One stray hiker could corrupt 60 years of untouched data in a single afternoon. So today, only a handful of researchers are permitted to land, and even they must follow decontamination protocols. Most countries reserve for biohazard labs, an island born from fire, guarded by silence. If Surtsey is the Earth's newest secret, Heard Island is one of its oldest and most furious. Sitting almost exactly halfway between Madagascar and Antarctica, in some of the most violent ocean on the planet, Heard Island is dominated by Big Ben, an active volcano under a crown of glaciers. Ice and fire sharing the same mountain. There is no airport, no dock, no safe harbor. To reach Heard Island, you need a private vessel, a small fortune, and roughly 2 weeks at sea through weather that has sunk far larger ships than one can imagine. And if you do survive the journey, you still need a permit from the Australian government, one that is almost never granted. Officially, it's about preservation. The ecosystem here has evolved in nearly total isolation, and a single invasive species carried in on a boot, a bag, a stray seed, could unravel an environment that took thousands of years to balance. But ask yourself this: why does one of the most remote, hardest to reach places on the planet still require strict permission for almost anyone who wants to set foot there? Because when a place is this isolated, this difficult to reach, and this carefully protected, it inevitably becomes the kind of place that fuels human imagination. Now we leave nature's forbidden zones behind and enter the ones humanity built on purpose. In the middle of the Aral Sea, on a stretch of land once shared between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, the Soviet Union built a facility you won't find on most maps from the era it operated. Vozrozhdeniya Island, Rebirth Island, a cruel name for what it actually became. Starting in the 1950s, Soviet scientists turned this island into an open-air bioweapons testing ground. Anthrax, plague, tularemia, smallpox, pathogens engineered to kill on a massive scale, released directly into the open environment, not in a sealed lab, but outside, into the wind, into the soil, into the animals that live there. For decades, the outside world had no idea this island existed in this capacity. It was erased from public records. Surrounded by isolation so total, the Soviet government didn't even need walls. The sea was the wall. Then the Aral Sea began to dry up. As the water receded, Vozrozhdeniya stopped being an island. It became connected to the mainland, a bridge of dry land where there used to be oceans separating a buried bioweapons program from the rest of the world. For the first time, the site was no longer protected by water alone. Cleanup crews came in the 2000s. They say the anthrax was neutralized. The same claim was made about Gruinard. Which brings us to our final stop, and the one that should worry you most, because it's not buried in a collapsed sea thousands of miles away. It's just off the coast of Scotland. During the Second World War, the British military needed to know one thing: could anthrax be weaponized? Could it be dropped from the sky and turn a city into a graveyard? They didn't test it in a lab. They tested it on Gruinard Island, releasing live anthrax spores into open pastures, watching what happened to the sheep, the soil, the grass. The answer was yes, it worked too well. Within years, Gruinard became unlivable, uninhabitable. The British government quietly sealed it off, put up warning signs, and walked away, leaving the island to sit, contaminated, for nearly 4 decades. In 1990, almost 50 years after the original tests, the government finally announced Gruinard had been decontaminated. Soaked in chemicals, the topsoil removed, sheep reintroduced as a test. They lived. The island was declared safe. Officially, you could now visit Gruinard Island. Almost no one does, because once a piece of land earns the name Anthrax Island, an official declaration isn't enough to make people forget. 4 islands. 2 made by nature. 2 made by us. But notice something. Every single one of them is still standing. Empty. Silent. Untouched. Decades or centuries after the danger supposedly passed. Surtsey is sealed to protect a scientific experiment that nature is still running. Heard Island is sealed because distance alone was never enough to protect it. Vozrozhdeniya was sealed by an empire that no longer exists. Yet it continues to raise questions that outlive the nation that created it. And Gruinard was declared safe, decontaminated, cleared, and still, almost nobody goes. So here's the question I want you sitting with after this video ends. If we can engineer something so dangerous that we need 50 years and a government decree to even attempt calling it safe again, what does that tell us about our ability to alter environments in ways that can outlast the very generations that created the danger. The ocean didn't put up these walls, we did. And maybe that should scare you more than anything nature ever built. If this kept you watching till the very end, that's exactly the kind of curiosity that gets people in trouble in real life. Subscribe, because next time we go looking for the next one. At Mind Marvel Wonder, we don't look away.